Hey, how's it going? My name is Adam Woods, and I'm a producer here at Oakwood Studios. Today I want to talk about my band's brand new song, New Normal. Usually when we write a song, there's a 6 to 12 month delay from when we write the song to when we release it. For this song, there's only about a month delay from when we wrote this song to when we uploaded it to our distribution service. So I wanted to take the opportunity while this mix is still fresh in my mind to talk about some of the production techniques we used to bring the song together. One of the most important things for me in this song was getting these guitars to be extremely present. And that was something that was really, really difficult. These kind of single coil, lower gain tones tend to get lost in the mix really easily. And we've experimented with those a lot before. And I really like that tone, but it's always been difficult for me, especially coming from the metal high gain world where the guitars tend to just eat everything else in a mix. So let me play just a little bit of these guitars and we'll talk more about them. All right, so that's the basic idea. I'm going to strip down all the processing. We'll kind of build up from there. So this guitar tone really starts before what you're seeing here. This was tracked using my Axe effects, so I'll just pull up the patch here that I used to track this. So what you're seeing here is a comp before everything else. So basically what this is doing is crushing my guitar signal before it hits any pedal, any amp, any cab, anything like that. This is just to start that process of making the very quiet and very loud sections closer to each other. So first stage is just a compressor right off the bat, first thing that the guitar hits. The next thing is just like your regular tube screamer overdrive kind of thing. Not really anything unusual here. Then it's going into this corn-fed M50 model, and I think that's a Cornford amp. I'm not 100% sure. It's been part of my live tone for a long time, and I think this is the first time I've actually used it for a recording. Then it goes into the cab. This is just a cab IR that I shot. It's a Mesa 4x12. So that is all recorded out, and that's what you're hearing here for the totally dry, straight from the Axe effects tone. So it's just a compressor, a drive, an amp, and a cab. So what you're seeing here are the amp track, this track right here, the left and right, and then the left DI and right DI are the DIs of the same thing. They're not routed to anything. They're just there as a backup in case I wanted to reamp, which I ultimately didn't do. This is what it sounds like just coming straight off the Axe effects. The entire song, all the rhythms are double tracked. The tone is the same on the left and right. This is actually one of the hardest parts of the song. As you can see, these are a little bit chopped up and kind of did the caveman editing style of just moving things around. It's a very percussive riff, so all these like dead notes and chord hits, I want it to be right on with each other. So together, double checked, this is what all the guitars sound like. Let's play a little bit more of that chorus. All right, so that's the basic idea. So continuing on that thread of getting these more compressed and more forward in the mix. So you can see that these amp tracks are not completely just a brick like a lot of like high gain guitar tones usually would be straight out of the amp. So the first thing that I did, and what I found made the biggest difference in getting this guitar tone to sit where I wanted it, was putting it through this Opto 3A, which is I think an LA 3A emulation. It's from Apogee. I got it for free with my interface, and it's awesome. I would definitely buy this plugin if I hadn't gotten it for free. As you're going to see, it is crushing these guitars. Let me play that main riff for you. It's really putting those guitars in a very confined dynamic range, which is exactly what I want. So beyond that, we just move into EQ, and this is really just fitting it into the mix along with other things. This first EQ is just taking out some of the high end. I have other things that are more important in this range, so I don't need a bunch of high end. Also pushing a little around 1400. That's just so they'll punch through the mix a little better, probably. So this next one is the BX console SSL 4000E. This is one of my favorite ones for just like general shaping. Pretty mild stuff here, like half a dB at 2.3 and 0.8 at 800. Very, very tiny moves. This is a very powerful EQ. A dB move makes a very big difference. So just more subtle shaping. So the last section of the song, if you've listened to the song, you might notice that there's a tuning change. For that particular section, this EQ kicks in and just adds a little bit more definition because those low down-tuned guitars get a little flubby. Okay, the last little part of this equation is this track right here, which is not labeled, but it could be called guitar para for parallel. So the all the rhythm guitars get sent to this track right here. And this is a trick that I use a lot of the time on just more general, like kind of high gain rhythms, but it really works well for these kind of guitars as well. And it's kind of the same thing in the inspiration for what I did on these guitars, which is using this Opto 3A again, crushing it. And then going into that, I'm just boosting a lot of high end, and it gives you kind of this kind of sparkly, maybe even a little bit harsh sometimes kind of guitar tone. But what I do is just mix that in parallel, so you can see it's turned down 19 decibels compared to the guitars, which are down 3. So it's a pretty small difference. I'll play just what the parallel is doing. And then these are the main rhythms with the parallel. And that's one of those things that I add in kind of late on in the process. And that's usually just to push it over the edge and get those guitars just a little bit more present. That's basically the whole idea with the guitars. The name of the game is compression. I honestly wouldn't have thought to try that trick. Honestly wouldn't have thought to try that trick if I didn't already use this on the parallel bus here, but I was really happy with what that sounded like. So gave it a try on these and ended up really being happy with the results. Another thing I struggled with on the guitars was getting the chords in the chorus to be clear, but not in the way of everything else. In this chorus, we have rhythm guitars, an extra layer right here, which I'll talk about in a second, a lead, some synthesizers, as we just talked about, and then a lot of vocals. So it was really important for me to kind of have these rhythm guitars really play their specific role and not get in the way. What I started out playing was like the root, the fifth, and then the octave of a third. It's a really easy shape to play on a drop D guitar, which is what the song's in. And I ended up taking out the fifth because I just felt like it gave it more space. So you can hear that here where I'm only playing 2 notes in these chords. And I felt like that was really important, just to let everything else have its space, but still have the guitars play those chords, and no other instrument is playing those chords. So it was really important that the guitars hold that down. Right here, you can see there's some auxiliary rhythm tracks. These are super chopped up, as you can see. These are really just to support kind of the thickness of the chorus, and in lieu of automation and making the chorus bigger through putting up the volume of certain things, I always like to just add more. And you have the option to put in a different tone, and you'll hear this is a very different tone than what the main guitars are. This is really an auxiliary to a instrument that's playing an auxiliary role in this part. So I don't want it to be too in the way. I think that's my Epiphone, kind of in a fuzzier tone, and it's a RD, so it's a very kind of Les Paul, thicker sounding guitar, so it kind of contrasts the sharper, strattier tones that are going on through the majority of the song. All right, I think that's all I have for New Normal. If you haven't already, go check out the music video on YouTube. Just search New Normal featuring Michael Skaggs of Outlining Color by A Mixtape Catastrophe. If you're interested in recording with me and getting these kinds of production elements on your music, visit my Facebook page at facebook.com/oakwoodstudiosok and shoot me a message. I work with a variety of different genres of music and offer tracking, editing, mixing, and mastering services, as well as reamping.